Hi, this is Tim Yoder with Fit Small Business. Today I will be evaluating Sage 50 accounting software for the Fit Small Business Case Study Chapter 3, which deals with accounts receivable. So our first task is to set up a sales tax item. This will be a sales tax we want to charge from New York State for 6%. It looks like this is possible by going to our Customers and Sales Center in our left menu bar, and then we have a sales tax icon here. Okay, I want to set up a new sales tax. Total tax rate is 6%. And we'll just say it's just one flat rate. Okay. Sales tax agency, we'll just call it New York. Okay. And then obviously this is important to make sure that you get all of this right in real life. But for our case study, we just want to make sure that it's capable of setting up a sales tax rate and tracking it. And again, I guess we got to put 6% here. Okay, so where do we want our sales taxes deposited? We want them to show up in a other current liability account. There we go. Okay, there we go. I guess we still have to call it something, huh? Let's call it New York. Okay, so there we go. We set up our sales tax. Let's see if it shows it now. And there's our New York State sales tax. Okay, very cool. That was pretty easy. Okay, next thing is we want to look at customizing our invoices by adding a logo, changing the color scheme, etc. So to customize an invoice, let's just open an invoice first. Okay, here there's an invoice for $10.59. So if we look to see what it's going to look like now, we can go to Print Preview. And that's a very generic looking invoice. It'll do the job, but generally we like them to be a little snazzier to kind of represent our company, make them unique. So let's see if we can customize this a bit. So if we go to Edit in our invoice window, we can go to Customize the Invoice Layout. Looks like we can add and subtract forms, and fields and columns. We can add a logo. Now, I may not be able to add a logo since I'm running in their test drive environment, but we can add a logo here. So I'm sure if we were running on my desktop here, it would open my C drive and we could choose our logo, but may not be able to do that in the test drive environment, which is fine. Okay, so this is giving us the name, kind of the layout of the invoice. Okay. Good. So let's go back. Let's look a little more here. So customize invoice layout. Change printed layout. Okay, so this puts us back to here. Now it said we can change the colors. Add select options. So let's say we just wanted to, okay, and it looks like here, okay. So you can, I mean, you can change the colors and stuff, but it's not like you can apply color themes. You're going to have to go through here and individually change every single item that you want. Other software you can choose themes and colors that will automatically apply to the whole invoice. So here you can definitely customize it very, very precisely. You could get this invoice to be exactly what you wanted it. Looks to me like it's just 100% customizable, but it's going to be a lot of work. What does this allow us to do? Add fields? Yeah. So this looks to me like you could make it look exactly like you want it, but it's a lot of work. But you can certainly customize it. Let's not save those changes. Okay, so I'm going to score it in the rubric here. So we were able to create a tax item for the sales tax. So choose an invoice template. I'm going to say no for that because it doesn't really have a template for you to start with. You kind of start from the very, very basic generic thing, and then you have to do all the customization 100% on your own. So it's a lot of work. You can't choose from various templates to start from. But you can upload an invoice and you can change the colors and you can put a personalized message on the invoice. Okay, very good. So again, invoices are a lot like the rest of this program. Incredibly powerful. You can customize it 100% to your needs, but it's very difficult. Okay, so next task we need to look at is so we want to issue an invoice for a project that we're working on. So if we go back up to projects, let's see, where was that at? That was lists, jobs. That's right, they call them jobs. So let's see. I think it was this bathroom project. We had some unbilled expenses, right? Yeah, we had $1,200. So let's say if we can bill these job expenses to our customer here, which is Family Bowling. Okay. Good. So let's go to, so this is our sales. Oh, here we have a jobs. Okay, so that looks like this is a place to manage the jobs. So invoice time and expenses. Let's try that. So we're going to do this by job. This job. Okay. And let's invoice everything. What if we hit OK here? There are no unbilled expenses that meet the criteria. Okay, done a little research. So in order for an item to be reimbursed from a customer, we need to fill out a time and expense ticket here. So let's do a new expense ticket, and we're paying a vendor. Let's just choose a vendor. Caldwell Tool Company, and let's apply it against our bathroom job. So our family bowling bathroom job. Here we can give it an item. Um, can we use contract labor here? Let's just say it's a permit fee of $200. Okay, and then our billing status is it's billable. Okay, and we did one of them, and it was $200. Okay. Okay, so let's hit save. So we have to set up the permit fee as a charge item. Okay. Now we should be able to invoice them. So that's how we have to record expenses on the jobs. Now we can invoice it. So customers, let's go to invoice expenses by job, Facebook, sorry, not Facebook, family bowling bathroom. Still nothing. Okay. I have no doubt you can do it, but in the little bit of time I have to review the software, I can't quite figure out how to do it. I tell you what, so I'm going to give them so I know you can do it, so I'll give them a half a point, and just with a note that it's very difficult to do. Okay, so once we have an invoice, can we print it or email it? Let's just look at our current invoices and see how we can send them. So here we have an invoice. Can we email it? Invoice number to Nancy Archer. Hit send. Okay. Huh. Okay, so yeah, it's trying to send it through my Microsoft Outlook. Okay, yeah, we just need to keep. Okay, so you can do that, and obviously you can print the invoices as well. So you can email them directly from the program, runs it through your email client. Can you add inventory to an invoice? So let's create an invoice to any customer. Okay, we have not done a sales order. We're going to do it directly to sales. Can we not add the inventory here? we may have to do a sales order first. Okay, so let's cancel out of this. Don't save it. So we may have to do a sales order first. Let's see, what if did we have other kind of invoices? Okay, so let's do a sales order from, we'll just do Archer for, let's see, what do we 20 plumbing widgets. These screens are so hard to navigate. What in the world? Why won't it let me print anything there? There we go. Okay, there we go. Selling 20 plumbing widgets automatically pulled up. Added sales tax to it. Very, very good. Let's hit save. Now that is our sales order, right? We need more than that. So let's go. Now we need to issue an invoice. So we're fulfilling it. We've fulfilled the order. Now we're going to do an invoice. And we're going to do it for Archer. Now we can select that sales order we just created. Okay. Notice with sales order, it automatically entered a order number. So if you watched the previous video, purchase orders, we had a heck of a time with because we didn't have a purchase order number. With sales order, it automatically puts in a purchase order number. Okay, so we're going to say we've shipped all 20 of them, so now we want to bill them. And now we're billing them $530. So let's hit save. Very good. Okay, so now if we look at our sales orders, we should see that this sales order is completely taken care of, right? They ordered 20, we've shipped 20. Very good. If we go to our inventory items here, our plumbing widgets, hopefully we will have 20 of them taken out of our quantity on hand. Yep, we sold 20 units there, and it assigned costs of $17.59. Now, I guess that's not I'm sorry, that's not the cost for those two. So let's look at let's see. I want to know what costs it assigned. It should have assigned some sort of cost. Is there a report that shows it? Units sold, there we go. There's the cost that it assigned it using the average cost method. Okay, which seems about right. We sold 20 units. Some of them we purchased for $10, some we purchased for $11. Very good. Okay, so all that looks pretty good. The only weird thing is that we had to run it through the sales order. That's kind of a waste of time if you don't want to use sales orders. So I'm going to give it half a point for adding inventory to an invoice because you have to do it through a sales order. So I'll comment about that. Okay, it did automatically charge the sales tax on the inventory. It did automatically record our cost of goods sold. It was using average cost. We could actually use LIFO if we wanted to. Okay, our next task. So we want to create a recurring invoice to Trampoline City for $100 per month. Okay, so can we create a recurring invoice is really the question. So I think we probably can. If I've learned, it's probably going to be similar to how we did our recurring expenses. So let's just pull up an invoice. Okay, we'll just pick one at random here. And now let's go to copy and create recurring. And here we go. Here's where we can create the recurring sales invoice. Very simple. Now that I know how to do it, because it's very much like the way we did recurring expenses in an earlier chapter. Okay, so now let's look at how we receive checks on invoices. So we have this invoice open from Tammy Aldred. So let's see if we can receive the amount of this. Can we do it from here? What is this event? Oh no, that's like documenting stuff with the customer. Okay, so let's close that. Let's go to our customer's workflow here. Okay. So let's hit receive money. Okay, from a customer. We want to make sure we pick one that's got an invoice outstanding. Actually, does Archer? Yeah. Okay, so we'll collect this big one. We're going to collect this big one, and out of curiosity, because this is a question we're going to deal with later, can we receive a short payment? So let's say they only pay $5,000 of it. Yes, good. Okay. Okay, so they're only going to they're going to pay $5,000 of their outstanding receivable. Okay. Now, here's where we can determine what account to assign it to. And here we've assigned it to our regular checking account. Okay, so it looks like that's going to go directly into our checking account. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like we can set it into a undeposited funds account, which we can then use to group items together to make a deposit into the bank. We could use our petty cash account for that, perhaps, but QuickBooks has a nice feature. So this is going to go directly into our cash account, and that's fine. So let's hit save. Have to enter a check number. Okay, so we apply that to an invoice. Good. Let's can we look at our check register? Here we go. And let's see, this is our regular checking account. Somewhere here should be our 5,000. I forgot to look on what date it was entered. Oh, here's our $5,000 receipt. Okay, so again, it would be nice if we could group multiple checks received and cash received into one payment and then deposit it into the bank account. But we could use our cash on hand account to do that, but it's not nearly as convenient as if they have a separate feature for it. So I'm going to say you can receive a check, but you can't receive it without immediately showing it as being deposited. Okay, so what about if what if we have a walk-in customer? Can we issue sales receipts without going through the whole invoicing process? Maybe no, that's Yeah, actually we can. Let's go receive money from a customer. Yeah, here we go. And so we can select our customer. And then instead of applying it to an invoice, we can just apply it directly to a revenue. Okay, so that's how we could do that. So we don't need to do an invoice. We could do it directly to a revenue account. So that would be like a sales receipt. Okay, we've determined already that they can pay less than their full invoice, which we call a short payment. However, we can't combine checks and cash into single deposits, so I'm filling out my rubric here. Okay, so some general items. Can we view all of our outstanding invoices? I'm sure we can. How do we do that? Well, right over here we have our invoices. We can probably view them here as well. Yeah, so there's all of our unpaid invoices. Okay, can we issue a credit to a customer? Okay, so credit to a customer. So let's just choose a customer here. Let's do Aldred. And I don't like it. I don't think you can quite see the bottom of the screen here, so I'm going to maximize it. Yeah, so there was a little bit more. So it looks like the customer owes us $74. Based on how it handled vendor credits, I'm guessing it's going to automatically apply that credit against their balance. But I would rather give them a check. For whatever reason, I've agreed to give them a check for the refund. Okay, so let's issue a refund. Let's say that they returned. Let's see, does he have a invoice we can use? We're going to refund his administrative fee of $3. Okay. Okay, let's save that. Okay, so that was his administrative fee of $3. Okay, and now if we go into our customer, so here is a history. Oh, perhaps that's not the right customer. Aldred. Oh, somehow it didn't record our, so let's double click. Somehow it didn't record our credit. Okay, this time let's try to do it for the 19. Oh, here we go. I got to say that they returned the bird seed. There we go. And so it was $19.99. Okay, now let's hit save. Okay, so this amount is greater than the current amount due. So we do still want to apply the credit. Yes, so they've already paid us, and now we're going to need to issue them a check. Okay, so now how can we issue them a refund? Let's go. Okay. Okay. So let's look at this report. I think it's applied it. Yes, so it already applied it to the invoice. So it automatically applied. So they owed 74.38. It automatically applied it to the invoice. So we're not going to be able to issue a check. It automatically applies to the invoice. Okay. But we were able to do a credit memo easy enough. It included a sales tax adjustment. We can use inventory items, so it'll add the inventory back into our inventory. Okay, so a couple general questions here. Can we view our balances by customer? Yes, we can definitely do that. Right over here is the customer ID and how much they owe. We weren't able to issue a check for that credit refund. Summarized of transactions by customer. Yes, we can do that. View our sales tax liability details. So let's get into the sales tax functionality here. So here we've set up sales taxes, but how do we manage them? Okay, so in order to pay our sales taxes due, we're going to have to first find out how much we've collected. So there's actually a report for that under Accounts Receivable, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me that they would put it under Accounts Receivable. But if we scroll down, we have all these accounts receivable reports. We can click on taxable and exempt sales, and here it breaks us down for this period for whatever tax we're looking for. And so this, we can see that we owe Cobb County sales tax $19.98. So we could then go in and just write a check like we normally would to Cobb County sales tax. There's no help in filing the sales tax return in Sage 50. But you can view the liability, which is the most important thing, and then you'll just have to pay it with a check. But you can't file your sales tax return. Okay. Also, it doesn't. Some software will actually, QuickBooks Online will actually allow you to send the payment electronically through the program. Here you can't do that. You'll have to write a check or initiate it some other way. And that's it for accounts receivable. The last thing is a subjective ease of use. And again, as with the Chapter 2, this is very difficult to use. If you're a professional bookkeeper, I think that you can learn it and get the hang of it, and that might be great software. It's very, very powerful, but I would not recommend this to a small business owner, which is what we focus on here at Fit Small Business. So I'm going to give it the lowest possible ease of use, which is 1 out of 10.